Welcome to this week's edition of Coach Prep. Coach Don and I are here in the Cherokee Batting Range podcast studio getting ready to record episode number 135. Today we're going to talk about teams needing to have a plan of attack for rain delays and lightning to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we don't have to try to solve problems on the fly. So before we get into that topic, let's talk about our sponsors. First, the Anderson Bat Company.
Everything Fast Pitch is very proud to have Anderson Bat Company as our presenting sponsor. Anderson Bat Company is using the latest and greatest bat technology to corner the market in the fast pitch world. They have the -9 Rocket Tech, the -10 Carbon, and the -11 Carbon Light. Anderson Bat Company is using this technology to put a high-performing bat in the hands of hitters that really know the difference between a good bat and a great bat. We're also working with Anderson to provide a discount for all of our listeners. Go to the Anderson Bat Company website and order your bats. Use the EFP20 discount, which is for everything fast pitch, and you'll get a 20% discount. It's a great way for you to save a little bit of money on a great bat and also help support everything fast pitch at the same time.
And let's talk about patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. If you're in a position where you can support us, we would love for you to become a patron. We're very fortunate. We've got a dedicated group of patrons that have been with us for a while. They are the people that have kept Everything Fast Pitch and Coach Prep afloat. But we would love to add some more people to the list of patrons. So if you're in a position where you can and you see value in what we're doing, go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch and everything will be explained to you there. So Don, you ever notice that when the umpire says, it's time to come off the field, it's too rainy, there's too much lightning, whatever it is, that it's sort of like this mad dash, this crazy, chaotic scramble where everybody's trying to get their stuff, trying to grab their stuff, trying to get out of the dugout as fast as they can, trying to get to the car or get to the bus or whatever it is. How much fun is that?
No, I know. That's kind of the last thing we were expecting or planning for that day. And I guess the planning for that day part is what we need to share today, right?
Right. So what we wanted to talk about is we know that when the first gigantic raindrop falls, or that lightning cracks, 100 feet from where you're standing, we all go into like self-preservation mode. The only thought in our mind is, how do I get out of this weather and how do I get out of it as fast as I possibly can? Well, depending upon how bad the storm really is or how much rain you really get, it could be a 10-minute delay, it could be an hour delay, it could be a 3-hour delay, it could be that the whole thing is rained out. But the suggestion I have today for our coaches is that long before the first raindrop falls,
Create a plan.
we have to have a system in place, a plan, as you said, Don, that solves all these issues and creates a way for everybody to understand what to expect. It also will save you the aggravation of every 15 seconds getting another text message or another phone call from a parent or player or grandparent.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? What's going on? When are we going to play? Oh, it's never going to stop raining. No, there's no reason for us to sit around here all day. And on and on and on the discussions go. So create a plan, whatever makes sense to you. So if it is everybody goes to their cars and you will text the group
chat.
However, you're already communicating with your team. We can keep the same technology or the same system, but create some guidelines. Say, okay, nobody leaves the park for X amount of time. Nobody leaves the park until I tell you it's okay to leave the park. Nobody goes to get lunch until I tell you it's okay to leave the park. Whatever your guidelines are going to be, so that it cleared everybody, so that you're not scrambling around all of a sudden that, what looked like it was going to be the end of the world storm, blows away and it doesn't really change the schedule very much. You're not scrambling around because your starting pitcher and your left fielder have decided that they were going to Applebee's because they were sure it was going to rain for 3 or 4 hours.
I was going to say, sometimes it's difficult to get communication from the tournament director or from, the whoever's running and coordinating the field. So therefore, just like you said, we need to have everybody hold tight, be patient, and know that you're going to communicate all the information as soon as you get it.
Right.
The other thing that kind of comes to mind to me, Tori, is when you described it and I'm seeing the mad dash and scramble from the dugout is, who's going to be responsible to get the buckets of balls, the bats, the left behind things? Is there somebody that's in charge of this stuff?
Yeah, because there's nothing more disappointing than to be the coach who's waiting in the dugout for the last person to leave. All of a sudden you look up and all the equipment
There's
is
no
still
way you
sitting
can
there.
carry it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're the one that gets to make 3 trips in the rain to get the equipment back to your car.
Yeah.
Or it's some player, who forgot to grab her bat bag or her sunglasses or whatever it is that they overlooked when they were in the mad
In the
dash to get out of the
scramble.
dugout. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I think the plan is the secret, having a system in place. Now, coaches, I will tell you this, that one of the things you have to also do is, because I know you're frustrated because it's delayed, it's a pain in the butt because you're the person that's got to disseminate all this information. If you've been sitting there for 30 minutes and you haven't heard anything from the tournament director yet, every 30 minutes or so, just send out a quick note saying, hey, no word yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I can. If it's one of those situations where you're not 100% sure what the answer is, it's better for you to tell everybody, hey, I'm waiting to hear, than to have to continually answer that question over and
That
over
I
and
haven't
over
heard
again.
yet. Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is for most people. It's probably that 30, 40-minute mark. They're going to start to get really antsy and start to get really curious about what's going on. By then, they've had a chance to check their weather.com app and all those different things. They've looked at all those things and have already formulated their opinion about what's going to happen and what should be happening. And if you're a little bit more proactive, if you're reaching out to them periodically while the process is sorting itself out, hopefully that will kind of smooth things over a little bit as well.
I was going to say, and if I'm a parent, Tori, and I know that the scenario is that you're going to shoot me a message like you said, every 20, 30 minutes, even if it's I haven't heard yet message, then I can be more patient and comfy, right?
Yeah.
And if we talk about that stuff, at the beginning of the year and then occasionally throughout the year, everything's good, I think, or better.
Yeah. Well, and I think all of us as coaches have our pet peeves. My number one, when it was time to share information, again, this is before text messages were quite
Easy
so popular,
and, yeah.
but when everybody had voice messages, so you could leave a voicemail, I would call, Don, practice is rained out today. We're going to schedule practice on Wednesday. I will let you know as soon as I can what time it will be. Have a great day. And invariably, 99.9% of the time, you would see that I called, not check the message, and I would have to then one more time say, well, practice today is rained out. We're going to schedule a practice for Wednesday.
I just saw that you called, Tori.
I'll call you as soon as I know and let you know what time to be there. And so it gets so frustrating. It would get so frustrating for me. It's like, I left you a message because I wanted you to listen to the message. The message has got the information in it, or at least you should have listened to the message because.
But Tori, I saw that I missed your call.
Right.
So I'm calling you again.
But so I ended up having to create a rule that if anybody called me without listening to the message, that everybody would have to be punished. But so the same thing would hold true if I don't want to have my phone ringing every 30 seconds because we've got parents, grandparents, players all trying to figure out what's going on in this weather delay. We have to have some rules. We have to have a way of making sure that everybody knows what they are.
No, I think that's a great plan. And that just saves you a lot of issue as a coach, right?
Yeah. And the most important thing about it is we want to make sure that, as we said earlier, there's no misunderstandings. We had a situation when I was coaching at Tennessee Tech. It was one of the most aggravating things in my career. We were winning a game. I think it was like the 6th inning, maybe even the 7th inning. And we had a big downpour, but it blew over pretty quickly. We went out to the bus to get out of the weather. I was not wise enough or smart enough at the time to have somebody stay behind and kind of keep an eye on things. All of a sudden, the coach from the school that was hosting the tournament came out and knocked on the bus and said, hey, we're starting right now. Where are you guys? Like, well, nobody told us.
Right.
So we ended up losing that game because we went out there and we warmed up for like 30 seconds and we're trying to play. Now, the kids weren't totally cold because we'd only been off the field, I don't know, maybe 40, 45 minutes.
Can be enough.
But it contributed to us not being ready to play. Because I'm sure we were not mentally focused on top of the fact that we might not have been physically prepared.
Right.
So that was my moment about making sure you're paying attention, that you got a system in place. So from that point forward, somebody was always right there, still at the field. Now, if it was a, Noah build a boat, 40-year rain that was clearly not going to be ending anytime soon, we wouldn't have to necessarily have somebody sitting there. But we would still drive by periodically just to make sure that the tarp hadn't been pulled off yet, that it was, those kinds of things weren't happening. so we'd have some idea about the time.
I like your idea, Tori, about leaving someone at the park, especially when it's a little bit unknown.
Right.
And because they're going to be the ones that make sure that you, in a timely way, get informed on what's happening.
Right.
Otherwise, you might be the last on the list of groups to be notified. So,
Well, and we had
cool.
a situation last summer with the team that I work with. We were playing in a big tournament, and it had poured like just come a flood. I was staying much closer to the hotel than most of the other teams. So I got over there pretty quickly when they said, game time's going to be 2:00. Well, I got over there at 1:00, and there were puddles on the field that were so deep that if you fell down in them, you might drown.
Sure. Yeah,
and there was nobody working on the field. I could clearly say and safely say
it's not happening.
There's
at
no
2.
way we're starting at 2. While I was there, the team we were supposed to play came rolling in there like 10 minutes later, so they were at 10 minutes after 1. Our team, I'd called, and they'd spread the word. There's no way we're starting at 2. I'll let you know at 2:00 what the field looks like. Well, at 2:00, the fields had gotten to the point of they were terrible, but improving. But still nobody had touched our field. So I could safely say we weren't starting until 3:00. Well, long story short, our kids got to hang around at the hotel and stay relaxed and not have to be sitting out there going stir crazy, sitting in the dugout
With
for an extra
wet
couple of
feet
hours.
Yeah.
Because I was there to be the spy, say, no, it's not going to happen in time. It's not going to happen at that time. Any kind of a advantage like that you can gain, or time of your people that they cannot waste, is always going to be a victory in my eyes.
No, I think that's important for sure, Tori. And to have someone there watching is ideal, because we don't really know how other places deal with things. If they have
Right.
a crew, or if the fields have French drains underneath the infield,
Right.
or what kind of thing. So
Yeah.
having someone there could be perfect.
Can be a useful tool. So,
Yeah.
coaches, the bottom line is simple. We know you're going to have rain delays. We know you're going to have lightning delays. We know you're going to have that mad dash out of the dugout. So plan for it now. Have your rules in place. Everybody's got a job. Everybody knows the system. And life's going to be a whole lot simpler. You're going to have a lot less embarrassing things to have to deal with later on.
Talk about getting your gloves in the bag so they're not drenched later.
All that stuff's
Cool.
important, but it's got to be done beforehand, because if we're trying to
do it on the fly.
If we're trying to do it on the fly, it's not going to go so good. So, Don, that's going to wrap up number 135. As always, please make sure you check out our sponsors, Anderson Bat Company and Patreon.com. We'd love for you to become a patron if you can. So for Coach Don McKinley and our producer, Stan Lewis, this is Coach Tori saying thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.